Hi everybody, I'm Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. In today's video, we are going to be using our Cricut to address envelopes. And this is such a fun thing that you can do. And we'll also talk about free writing fonts, and I'll give you a huge list of free writing fonts down below in the video's description. I've tested them all, they all work really, really well. We're going to use two different fonts from this, and I'm also going to show you a hack to make sure that they line up perfectly on your envelope. This is such a fun project. Honestly, I don't think I would do it with more than maybe like 10 or 15 because it does take a while, but this is a great way to use your Cricut. All you're going to need is your envelopes, your Cricut machine, and a Cricut pen. Now you could use other pens for this if you have the adapters, and I'll link some videos all about adapters and writing with other pens with your Cricut down below if you'd like to check those out. And don't forget to subscribe here, that way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. So let's go ahead and get started. In order to address our envelopes with our Cricut, the first thing that we'll need to do is to make a template for the envelope. The first thing I want to do is open up the shapes, and I use a square. And for our envelopes, they are 7.25 by 5.25 because they're for 5 by 7 cards. So what I'm going to do is up here in the size section, which is at the very top of your screen, you want to unlock the little lock between the width and the height. The width is going to be 7.25 and your height is going to be 5.25. There is your envelope. Now I do prefer to change the color just so that we can see stuff a little bit better. I like to use lighter colors, the light purple, the light pink, whatever works best for you. You can leave it on the dark gray if you want, it's up to you. Now I'm going to be addressing 3 envelopes. That way I can do them all at the same time, and I show you how to do that because it's actually a lot quicker and easier if you set it up so that you can do multiple at once. Now I want to open up a text box and I want to enter the information that I want the return address to be. So I'm going to do my name, and I'll just make my address, and we'll just use like a major city in Ohio. I don't know. That'll work. Now, what you want to do is you want to use a writing font for this, because if you use just any font, it's going to look like a bubble letter. It's going to be hard to read. So I'm going to change this really quick to pen and show you what it would look like. See how it's all not filled in? I'm going to use a writing font for these to make it a little easier, but I want to make sure that the font that I choose is kind of easy to read because obviously we're mailing these and we don't want them to get lost. So I'm going to go into my system fonts because I want to use something that I already have. I have many fonts that would actually write really nicely because they are thinner line fonts. For example, this one, once made small enough, would write really, really well. Now I want it to be, again, something that's easy to read. So I want it to be not a super fancy script font on this. There's one that I find works really well, and it's Blackstone. It's like Blackstone line 2. This one writes really nicely and it's easy to read. The A's are nice and it still has that little air of cuteness. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to size it down, but I also want to make this line spacing just a little closer. I think it's a little far away, so I'm just going to use this arrow up here under line space, and I'm going to squeeze this together a little bit more just so that it doesn't take up quite as much space on my design, on my envelope. I think that looks pretty good. It should still be pretty easy to read. Now what I want to do is I want to get this into the corner, and I want to size it down, and you don't want it to be so tiny that you can't read it, but you also don't want it to be so big that it takes up the whole envelope. But I think that should be pretty easy to read and see for the Postal Service. Now the next thing I want to do is open up another text box. Now for this one, I'm going to type in my person's name that this is going to. So I'm going to send this to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and they are going to live at 47821 Hall Avenue, and they're going to live in Montreal, Illinois, and I have no idea. We'll just make up whatever. It's fine. Now, while I like the look of this, I would really like Mr. and Mrs. Jones to be a little bit fancier, and I also want this, the like city closer to the street name. So one way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go to advanced and I'm going to ungroup this to lines. I want to use the 2 lines. Now I can move each line independently. So I can move the address, the street address, a little closer to the city and state. And then I can change the font of Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Now there's a font that I have in mind called California that is so easy to read, but it's so pretty that I think it's going to work really well for the names, because I want the names to look a little fancy. Depending on what I'm sending my invitations for, you can make them however you want. Now we are going to need to make sure that this font is all changed over to pen as well. So I'm going to go ahead and change these really quick before I do anything else. That way I don't forget. Now these are going to be a little bit big right now, so it might look a little funny. I'm going to go ahead and size this section down a bit. And then I'm going to size Mr. and Mrs. Jones down a smidge, but I kind of want that to be a little bit bigger than our address parts. So you do what you want to do. You make it look how you want. It's up to you. But I do want everything centered. So I have all 3 of these lines selected. I'm going to go to Align and I'm going to center them horizontally. Then all I want to do is attach those lines. That way they don't move at all. Now, before I do anything else, I am going to copy and paste this. So I'm going to use Control-C and Control-V to make myself a second copy, because I want to keep all of this and I want the same fonts, but I just need to change up like what they say. So I can easily do that by just copying and pasting. So this one I'm going to send to Allison Haney, oops, not with a capital A. And I'm going to send this to her address, and she lives at 103, I don't know, West Avenue. I probably should capitalize the W. And then she's going to live in Orlando, Florida, 12456. I don't know. Again, these are all made up people and addresses, so whatever. Now, Allison's name is going to sit a little higher because of her Y. You'll notice that this one sits a little closer to the address, but because she has this weird Y in her name, it's going to sit a little bit funny. Now, again, all I want to do is just make sure I'm happy with where everything sits. I'm going to select this and I'm going to copy and paste it because I can fit a 3rd envelope. Now, this one is going to go to, oh, let's see, William Gregory, and he is going to live at 765, let's see, Dials Road, I don't know, but he's going to have an apartment, so he's going to be apartment number 3. D. Let's make him apartment 3D. Now you'll notice here that it runs over into the city. So if you're having that problem, you can detach your words and then you want to move everything around. So now I want to move everything so that it all fits. You could do this all unattached and attach later, but I just prefer to attach. Now again, the line spacing, you can either use it with the line spacing tool or you could advance it, ungroup it to lines, and then move everything around and figure out where you want it to be. It's really up to you, whichever way works best. Then I'm going to align them. I'm going to center them, and I think that looks pretty good. Now I want to select each of my envelopes. You select each square and then you attach, and that way everything that you have written on each of your envelopes stays with that envelope, and attach. Now I'm going to show you how we line these up onto our mat to make it easier. But you want to save your project before you do anything. So I always recommend that, especially doing something like this. Just make sure you save it. Now go ahead and click Make. I want to do this on my longer mat. So in order to do that, I just need to tell it that my material size is 12 by 24, and it'll give me my 12 by 24 mat. Now I could fit 5 envelopes on here even once I kind of rearrange these, but we'll just do 3. I'm going to show you how to set these up. So the first thing I want to do is line each of these up onto a grid line. So I'm going to line this one up on 14 and 1. So this would be your 14 line and your 1 line is this. Then I'm going to do the same thing for this. I'm going to move this one down a little bit. And I'm going to line this one up, and I'm going to do this one on the, let's do this one more down. Let's do this one on the 8 and the 1, just so we can give this one a little more space because I want to move this one to the 1 and the 1. And now you just need to note where you lined these up on your mat when you go to make it, and then you line them up on the actual physical mat and it'll line up. Now, it will want to cut around our envelope. But all we're gonna do is remove the blade. That way it won't cut around the envelope, but that way this holds everything in place. That fake little square acts as your template, so it just makes it a lot easier to write out your envelopes, have everything lined up. Now let's go over, I'm gonna show you how to line these up, and then we'll go ahead and write on them, and I'll show you how to remove your blade so it doesn't cut. I have my 3 envelopes. Now, mine were actually smaller than I thought they were, so I did resize them before I am going to do all of this. So I'm gonna line them up onto the grid, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. So I'm using my 12 by 24 mat, and the first one I'm gonna line up on the 12 and 1. So you wanna get this as straight as you can, and you don't have to press it down real hard. I'm using a medium grip, standard grip mat. And then I lined the other one up on the 6 and 1. And I want to get that one pretty straight. And then I lined the last one up on the 1 and 1. And you do want to make sure, pay attention to where your like flap is. So you want to make sure that your flap is at the top, and that way it does address it in the correct direction. I should have mentioned that a moment ago. But here, we're going to line this one up, and you can line them up onto any grid line that works for you and whatever makes sense for your brain. I just kind of lined them up on ones that I could remember. Now I could fit a couple more, or at least 1, maybe 2 with the envelope size that I'm using, but I'm not going to do that. We'll just do these 3. So to get your machine ready, the first thing I want you to do is take out the blade from your clamp B, because we don't want it to accidentally cut our envelopes. We're just writing on them. And remember, we made the envelope templates so that it was easier to line everything up. So I just take that blade out. That way I don't have to worry about it. It's not going to cut them. It's no big deal. Next thing you want to do is insert your pen. You can use any color that you want. I'm using a black 0.4 size pen. You're going to go ahead and place it into clamp A. So open clamp A. You want to place your finger under the clamp and then place your pen in until it clicks. You'll hear an audible click and you'll feel that it's pretty well seated in there. Close clamp A, and now we can load our mat. So I'm just going to load my long mat here. Load that in, and then it's going to go ahead and write out. Now, keep in mind, this does take a while. So while it's doing this, you may want to do something else. Clean up your craft room. I don't know. But do something else. That way you're not stuck here just staring at it. It's cutting right now, so what we can do is we can actually just hit pause and we can unload the mat. It's done doing what we need it to do. So we can simply just hit pause and unload because we're done with our craft. So we have our envelopes here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and first thing I always want you to do when you're done doing a writing project, take your pen out of your machine and make sure you close that cap and either put it away or put it into the little pocket. That way, number one, you don't lose it and it doesn't dry out. Now I'm gonna show you how I remove these from the mat. So give me 2 seconds. I know I just shook you guys really bad. Let me move this out of the way because we do need a little bit of space. Since we're working with our longer mat, I want you to flip it upside down and then you can just kind of roll these off of your mat. And you want to be gentle since I did use the standard grip. I oddly do not have a long light grip mat, so definitely adding that to my list of things to get. So let me go ahead, get these off the mat, and then I'm going to give you a really nice up close view so that you can see what they look like. I think they came out really, really cool. Here are the envelopes all up close and finished, and I think they came out really well. And remember, I'll link the fonts that I used here plus a whole list of free fonts down below for you, but I think they're really easy to read. They came out so nice, and I really think this is a great way that you can address some envelopes using your Cricut. Now, you can use a thicker pen if you want to make some of that writing a little bit larger and make it look filled in, and I'll link some helpful videos all about using writing fonts down below as well for you. But I just think these came out so good. They're really fun, and this is just kind of an easy thing that you can do to not only get used to writing, but to using templates to help you line things up with your Cricut. If you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. If you'd like some more information about adapters, I will link that down below as well. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.